Cloud. And we're recording. Yay, good morning. We're getting a little late start, sorry. 7:04 on October 14th. I'm Gwen Schmidt. For those of you who are maybe someone shared this video with you down the road. In posterity, you're watching. So we're here this morning to learn from each other. And this is pretty big fun for me. I think that the wealth of knowledge that we have here, seasoned coaches and new coaches, everyone brings something different to the table. Everyone brings a different look to it, a different shadow to it, a different blush to it, whatever you want to call it. Everyone looks at this differently. So all of that is worthwhile to contribute here. So please do not feel like this is a place where you can't ask questions, you can't share your ideas. Please never think that because you have not been coaching for as long as others, that what you bring to the table is not of value. That is not true. This is a people business, and every time you interact with a client or do an explore call or do a celebration call or watch a video from another team with training, you are honing your craft, and that's what you bring to this. And we have evolved over the years with training, so there's not anything that you can't say or share that won't be of value to the room. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Today we're going to talk about specifically what we do when we're talking to clients, when we're doing our check-in calls, and for twofold. One, that we want to keep our clients engaged. We want to check up with them, and we want to check on their personal program. But we also want to always be asking certain questions and finding out what's going on with the people that are around them. Because again, we're going to go back to this. This is a people business, right? This is relationships. And we build those through the people that we have immediate contact with, and then they are that window. And we talk about that almost every time that we have a training, guys. We can only have immediate contact with a certain amount of people in our world. The way that we're going to get America healthy and then the world healthy is by opening those windows and connecting with people, so that then they can connect us with their people, and their people can connect us to their people, and so on. So when we are doing our calls, and let's just do that let's do a little foundational training there with that. When you have a new client in Simple Systems, it's so specific and easy for you to use what they have there. You do your first call and you're placing their order, and then you're sending them a welcome email, and you repeat to them, we're going to chat when your box comes. Don't start when your box comes before we chat. We need to chat. I have tips for you to help you on your first few days. We're going to be in contact, but it's really important that we talk before you start. You cannot say that enough times when you are having that initial conversation with them and you're placing their first order, because they won't. There will be people who I'll say, okay, I got your tracking. Your box, is coming today. It should be there today. And there are times when people will say, oh no, it came early yesterday. I'm on day one. I'm already done with day one, right? People nod their heads. Yeah. So we want to try to make sure that we talk about those things, and make sure that they know that we need to talk. So that's our pre-start. So you'll see that in Simple Systems. There are text messages that you can send, copy and paste. Pre-start, tomorrow you're going to start. Here's a text message. Here's a little video for you to watch. I've saved them in my phone in predictive text. Maybe we'll do a training on that at another time. But if you haven't done that already, I can teach you how to do that. I have them saved. So pre-start, tomorrow I send it after we've chatted, and it just talks about everything that we talked about. And again, this is all in Simple Systems. This is the pre-start. You're going to talk to them about when they're going to eat in the morning. You're going to talk to them about not putting anything in their mouth except what comes out of their box. And I don't say anything other than that anymore for those first days, because they have to get into the mentality that they can't eat anything else because they've been snacking. So anyway, that part of that is important to get them going. Then your check-in calls, right? And we know how did it go today? Tell me what you ate. Ask open-ended questions instead of yes or no's. Did you get all your water in? Oh yeah. No. So tell me how much water you think you got in. Tell me when you had your water today. How are you measuring it? Ask questions, because they're thinking they got their water in and they maybe drank 3 8-ounce bottles because they feel like that's more than they normally drink. So asking those questions. So then now we're moving forward. Here's where we want to talk to the other part of it. So now we've gotten them through their first week. We do their second week check-in call. Here's the tips from leaders in the company. You always want to try to learn one new thing about your client and their family during their check-in call. You do want to check, obviously, how did the scale treat you today? Ask different things other than, so what was your weight? Because it's kind of like all about the weight when you do that. So, yay, I'm excited. How did the scale treat you today? I'm 6.1 pounds down. Woohoo! Yay! How do you feel? Are you noticing it? How's it going? Any issues? Because you haven't talked to them since day 4, hopefully. And talk that out, right? And get through that. And then you set up your weekly check-in call. Now, that doesn't have to be on a Monday. It can be the day that they weigh in. It can be your office hours. If Mondays are the days for you to work, you say, okay, so now we're going to check in on Mondays. What's a good time for you? And you set that up. So now we're fast forwarding to, we're doing that. We're checking in with them, right? Calling. I text and then I follow up with a phone call. That's how it works for me, because with my regular JOB, that's what works for me. So Monday mornings early, I send text messages to everybody and I check in. Hey, it's your health coach. And sometimes I send an emoji and sometimes I say, I'm going to be a grandma. How are you? And then when they respond back, I say, okay, we're checking in today at whatever time I have them on their time for a check-in, and we chat. Not always, but most of the time. So you want to make sure, especially in this first part of it, that we are talking live, right? How many of you have trouble with that? I know down the road it gets a little more difficult, but does anybody have trouble getting your peeps on the phone for that first week check-in? No? Are we good?
Every once in a while. Like, I have one lady that started and I have not talked to her on the phone the entire time. She just will not call me back. She updated her order though, so I don't know. I just keep reaching out and I keep calling and texting, but most everybody I can get on the phone.
Good. Is she active in your client group?
No, she hasn't. I see that she's read my text messages and just isn't responding, so.
Okay.
I think she just thinks she's too busy for that part of it, and she's still in the mentality of food.
Right. Yep. And how do you know her personally, or she's someone that came on?
It's like my own personal BNI with this Fisherman's Wives group that I'm in.
Yeah.
So I know her, as in I see her once a month, maybe, if she shows up. So I've kind of gauged her personality a little bit. I have another fisherman's wife that's on program, and she recommended it to this other lady. So it's like the lady knows me and I've seen her, but I was just, the avenue because she was a referral of one of my other clients.
Got it. Really good. I don't know if you guys all heard that there, but Jillian said I could kind of gauge her personality. That's a soft skill. You're not going to always have people that do this. They're not going to do what you want them to do. They're not going to do the do, right? And most of the time that means they're not fully integrated. They're probably not reading the book. They're probably not doing their, any of the other stuff. But we go to where they are, right, Jillian? I mean, we're not going to guilt her into it. the one thing I would maybe suggest is make it personal about stuff. You know, maybe the text needs to be something not about checking in, but about something else, if you knew her well enough. But I don't know if that's the case. Yeah, but perfect. That's a soft skill that Jillian was just talking about. So here's the deal. It's easier to talk to people earlier in the program than it is later. It gets to be later and people start to feel like they've got this, they don't really need to chat. So we want to make good use of that time when we can get them on the phone, when they're still in that newlywed, excited, want to share, want to tell everybody. People are starting to notice. So let's focus on that. So when you're talking to them on the phone, you want to make sure that you're asking specific questions here to see and to qualify to see if this is something that they're starting to notice that people are noticing. So you have to ask them, right? So, and it's usually not until they've, depending on how much weight they have to lose. I mean, if you have a client that has 150 pounds to lose, at 15 pounds down, don't ask them if people are noticing, because people are not going to notice. I only had 60 pounds to lose, and it took me probably 20 before people were really noticing. And then people go through phases. You know, they're worried when they see you lose weight, whether you're sick or not. And so it takes them a little bit of time to find out. So you want to ask people, so how are you feeling? How are your clothes fitting better? And bring up their goal that they talked about. Is it easier for you to get in the car? Have you been on your bike? Have you been on the floor with your grandkids? Are things getting a little easier? And then you start to ask the question. So are people noticing? You know, and it's like, did anyone notice this week? It'd be even more specific. Did anyone notice this week? You know, and it's like, yeah, actually, one of the ladies that I ride up and down in the elevator said, I noticed that there's a little less of you. I actually had this happen. Somebody say this, a little less of you going up and down in the elevator. And I say, hey, that's exciting. So what, did they ask what you were doing? Nope, she didn't ask what I was doing. She just said that. Okay, but you will eventually have people say, what are you doing? And then you want to ask the question, always ask. That's very exciting. What did you say? Right? We want to know what they said. We want to know if they said, I'm on the MetaFast diet. It's awesome. And that's great. If they said that, don't chastise anybody. Don't browbeat anyone. Don't make anyone feel like that excited answer was wrong. That's the very last thing we want to do. And that used to kind of be the way before we did. We didn't want anybody to use the M word. Guess what? We're proud of our MetaFast parent company. They spend a lot of money in advertising that we don't. So we can skim that right off of the top. Yay, that's exciting. Did you tell him you had a health coach? Ask that. Did you tell him I was helping you? Did you tell him you had a health coach? Yeah, I did. I told him I had a health coach that was helping me. Yay. Okay. Now it's just an elevator ride. Then make sure you say, well, you know, I can help anybody in your world. And I just say, this is a referral business, you know. I don't sell stuff to people. I don't advertise. I get my clients based on my relationship with the clients that I have in referrals. So I can help anyone that you have out there that's interested in what you do. So, and then you say that, right? And then you leave it at that. And then the next time you do it again. And a different way, you ask it again. And now, after a couple of weeks have happened and passed and their weight has kind of gone off, kind of been falling off of them, people are really starting to ask. And because you asked them at the second week in or the third week in, now they're paying attention to the people who are noticing, because you've drawn attention to it in the call previously. That's a really big thing to note, because people are self-conscious, they're excited. They won't just tell people that they're losing weight and they're getting healthy and how they're doing it. But when people start to ask them, if you've already had that discussion, they're ready to talk about it. They know what to say. And so if they said, I'm doing the MetaFast diet, it's awesome. Okay, yay. You can use that teaching moment right there and say, just let them know that you're working with a health coach, you're getting healthy. And if people say, did they ask what you were doing? And people will say, yeah, what did you say? I just told them I was eating healthier. Because some people don't want other people to know, right? So again, use your soft skills. Go to what Jillian said, right? She's gauging the personality. You're getting to know them. You should, by your second weekend, you've talked to them on the phone. You did your explore call with them. You did your pre-start call with them. You talked to them 4 nights in a row. You talked to them first week check-in. You've talked to them second week check-in. I mean, come on now, you're buddies now, right? You have a relationship. So start doing that and geekle. Have fun with this stuff. Engage them in what's going on. Also, when you're doing this first week check-in, when they're doing it and they're telling you and they're excited, please put on your list to ask them to go into your client site and share their results. Please do that. That's another way that we get our clients fully integrated into our client support group, and we say, would you go in there and share? Because there are people watching and they can use your encouragement. And you have great tips. If you could go in there and, when you ask stuff and they tell you, oh yeah, I did this and this and this. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Could you go into Away We Go and share that? Because that could help so many people. And can you hear how that's already starting to get them to thinking about them helping other people? It's not just me. It's not just Gwen in that group, not everybody's voice. And sometimes it is. But asking those questions, right? Okay. Anyone else doing that? Is that a good thing for you? Do you see that happen in your client groups? Share.
I feel like that's just kind of like an autopilot response for me every time, even if it's just a text message that they send me, because I want to get them comfortable with feeling like they can celebrate even with more people than me. And then my next step with them is to ask them to celebrate in their world on their Facebook. And so in our client groups it's the foundation for them to be able to feel comfortable, because when they see all the support in that group, it makes them feel better and more comfortable to share it with the people that they're, and I tell them that I'm like, oh my gosh, look how many people in our group are encouraging you and how many people you just inspired. Can you imagine how many people out there in your world, might be excited about losing 10 pounds or whatever it is. So
good stuff.
Yeah,
anybody else?
Well, I sometimes with people that don't want to post or anything, I try to encourage them to get in there and tell them that that's a really great question that they asked. And by doing that, they're helping maybe somebody that's afraid to ask that question. And that's how they all learn. And even by them asking me questions, that's how I learn and kind of make them realize that we don't know everything. And so we all are kind of doing this together. And then what you said about posting people that don't want to tell people what they're doing.
Uh-huh.
I try to, I always try to let them know that that's a really good way by living their life out loud and letting people know what they do, they're going to have more support. And then people, won't, maybe people will not bug them as much, I guess. That's not what I say to them. I don't know what I say to them, but something like that.
I understand. And I'd read an article yesterday about that. When you're talking about doing stuff, one of the very first things you're supposed to do is tell everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Tell your world what you're doing, because that's another level of accountability.
Right.
So you use that, we talk about that. Support and accountability, that's what we provide. But that's what we provide at a distance in our group and as a health coach. They need that in their immediate.
Right.
That's exactly right, Glenda. So you're talking about, and use those words, support and accountability. Use the words that will get them into this warm water where we want them, where they're feeling like, and they may never be a health coach, but they have people in their world that if they're open to it will come to you. And people out there need us. And this is, again, not about getting anybody ever. This is just about getting the word out and creating relationships. And you want to say, we say this with people, right? Yes, so-and-so and so-and-so. So now we've gotten to the point where they're referring. They say, okay, yeah, my sister-in-law really wants to do this. I told her all about you. And I say, okay, does your sister-in-law live where you are? Oh, yeah, she lives, 2 streets over, and our husbands work together, and yay. Okay, so we've talked about this before. So are you going to coach them? Are they going to, you're referring now, you want to talk a little bit about this, explore maybe that you might want to coach, because you're probably going to be doing it anyway. You live 2 streets over, they eat dinner together, your husbands work together, you've been on program for 2 months, she's going to start new, and the first person she's going to go to is you. I would be happy to coach her, but she already knows you, she already likes you, hopefully, and she trusts you, right? So you bet, you can refer me. And this is when you say, and I'll be happy to put cash on account for referral because I appreciate the recommendation. And then, no, I don't want to do it. I want you to coach. Okay, take them on board. It continues to happen then, right? Now the brother is going to come. Okay, now my brother wants to do it. Okay, well now you're talking to the sister-in-law. So now things start to happen when they're in families like that, because who's going to coach first? So you don't want to leave a stone unturned. Please don't do that. Please don't ever not offer the opportunity for them to coach their world. Don't ever skip that. Don't feel like you're pressuring anybody. You just never want to be in the situation where you didn't offer it and they didn't ask. And then down the road, someone that they've referred becomes a coach, and then all of the other people that would be referred are now going to be that person's clients. Does that make sense? You don't ever want to be caught in that. So this is another one of those things where it's not about getting anybody. It's just making sure that we offer what we have. We offer the whole program. Weight loss is part of it, but we also offer the coaching part of it, because again, $200 or $300 a month can change families' lives. That amount of money can change lives. So you don't ever want to skip that part. Okay? So that's what you say. Now you're, okay, yay, all right, we bring them on. Again, you're still doing it, people noticing. So now what I do usually after, yes, people are noticing the first week, oh my gosh, yes, people are noticing the second week, and we've really kind of talked about it, I tell them to start jotting names down. Who's noticing? Ooh, start a little list of people who are noticing. Just for fun. Let's just see who's noticing. Pay attention. Are they men? Are they women? Are they workmates? Are they, church people? Aren't you curious who's noticing and who's asking? And let's just start a little list and see. I'm excited to see, and just do it like that and be excited. This is not faking stuff here. I'm excited to see who in their world is noticing. Who pays attention. That's gathering data. Ask them. Start a little list. And then, man, that's like for us, right? Start a list. Structural tension. Here we got. She's already the people we've already got a list. And then if that person doesn't want to coach, at least now look at the ones that you have that are probably referrals that you're going to want to start relationships with, and say, maybe you'll friend them on Facebook and start relationships there. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to let people talk. So unmute and share things that have popped into your brains, and I've seen you all jotting down things that you've taken from this, things you've done, or things we didn't cover that you want to ask. Go.
Okay, I'll start, even though I've been talking the whole time. It's really quick. When you said $200 to $300 a month can change a family's life, that was, okay, that's not profound. And I don't mean that what you said wasn't profound, Gwen, but to me, just in that moment, it was profound because I am not thinking about this coaching opportunity in those minimal standards. I'm thinking about it in extravagant standards. And I think that holds me back a lot when I'm offering this or not offering this to people, because that's so huge. You know, you don't realize how, well, it does make a difference, because think about it. When people can't start the program, how much is that every month? So, I just really love that you mentioned that. And I think that needs to be mentioned more often to people, because when we think of coaching, we think of how much we're making, you know, and you don't think about that it could just be even under $500 that could make such a difference. So thanks for sharing that again.
You're welcome. Good, really good point. And I just shared that the other day with our income disclosure. You know what? It's like 50-something% of people never hit senior coach. And guess what? That's okay. It doesn't, we do not, this does not matter to us. If you start thinking that everyone that comes onto coaching is going to be an executive director and a global director and, you know, blah, 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 and they're going to help thousands of people, that's great. But it's going to be just like Jillian said, it's going to hold you back. And that's when we're thinking about me, mine, and I, and not us, our, and we. That's that shift that you have to make. When you're offering this to people, we are not offering it because it's going to get us anywhere. You have to not have that. I mean, will it help us with our business? You bet. But we want it for them. That's why we're getting to know them. We know about their finances because we're getting to know them when we ask them. And we drip on them with coaching because, you know, they didn't want to do it before and now they want to. So really good point, Jillian. Okay, who else?
One thing that I do when I'm talking to a new client or an old client, it doesn't really matter, is that I encourage each person to see themselves as a leader. There are so many people who honestly have so much noise in their sweet little heads, myself included, that the world is so noisy and it's getting noisier. And people are feeling a little bit lost out there. And it's very nice to remind people that they are the decision makers. And they may think that I am so scared to do this program. I am so scared to fail. I am so scared to spend this money. I am just flat fearful of just about everything about this change thing. And I love to encourage people to look deep within. And I applaud them constantly for every decision that they make, because they are leading themselves into a really healthy place. So when I do that, I'm also kind of planting the seeds. How exciting it is to be an example to your family, your children, your grandchildren, in my case. You know, how beautiful it is really to take control of your day. And the only reason that I can do any of that is because I'm heavy into self-development. So I'm going to plug again, keep reading those books, keep attending all these meetings so that we can be somewhat of a leader for other people. And I have always from the get-go, I mean, even 5 years ago, introduced coaching almost first before being a client. That's how I came into it. Wasn't a client, I became a coach. And that's just all I really know. So I've had to work on getting the client part. You know, I'm still kind of weak on that, believe it or not. I'm going after, I don't know. But if we can build each other up, like, don't think about you. Think about them all the time. Like, I'm pounding my leg here. I'm so excited about this. This is my passion, is help people feel incredible about their little day. Like, if you wake up, that's something to really celebrate. And if you make a decision to eat something really cool, really good, like, you know, green peppers and eggs or something really healthy, isn't that cool? Instead of somebody grabbing the cereal-laden, sugar-laden cereal box. And that's so easy. That's how I was raised. You know, you guys, we all kind of have that culture, right? And we're teaching people something totally different. So I'm getting off on a big tangent here. I'm so sorry, but
Nope, good
encouraging
point.
people to be excited about all their decisions and watch the light come on in their eyes. Oh my gosh, you guys, there's nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. So go for it. And I'm done.
Thanks, Deb. There's that passion. Man, did you all look at all those points.
And do we love you, Deb?
Yep. And did you hear what she said? I mean, I took notes. See yourself as a leader when you're talking to them. When people are feeling lost, pay attention to that, right? That's, again, the soft skill that Jillian talked about. And Deb said, applaud them constantly, right? She said that. And that's what we want to do. That's what we told them we were going to do. At the beginning, you guys, we're going to encourage them and be an example. Isn't it inspiring that you're being an example for those around you? Those are really good points. And be passionate like Deb. Oh, gosh, it's just great. Okay, who else?
I have to go along with what Jillian said. Well, and Deb, too. That was awesome. But, yeah, I do think that because I am not, an executive director or higher and making all this awesome money that I could be making, that I don't feel like I am a good example to share coaching because I don't make that much money. But, when you think about it, I just talked to a girl who can't pay her rent. $300 would go a long ways to help her pay her rent. So, I need to stop thinking about that I'm not successful, so I can't share the opportunity of coaching. So thanks for bringing that up, Jillian, because that's a huge point for me.
Really?
Sally, I want to say something just real quickly, and then I have to go, actually. I have to go to work. But Sally, I have been a regional director. I have been all kinds of things in this business, and I'm completely starting over. So I'm not making a lot of money in this business either. But it's just be you, because you are incredible as a person, and that's all you need. You don't need to be making a lot of money in this business to help people, but that's how you will make a lot of money in this business.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. That's awesome.
I love you guys.
We all need to remember that.
Yeah, please do. And I love you guys. I'm so sorry I have to go.
It's okay. We'll see you next Saturday, Deb.
Love you.
Bye, Deb.
Love you guys. With all my heart.
Sally, all you want to do is invite him to come along with you. Learn as you go, right? I don't know everything, but guess what? You don't have to know everything because we coach as you go. We don't throw up on you and give you all the tools. We coach as you go, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to do it. I learned it with my mentor coach, and you're going to learn it right along with me. And I don't know everything, but man, I have this great group of people, and we get on the phone on Tuesday nights, and we get on our Zoom calls on Saturday mornings, and it's awesome. There are people who've been doing it for a long time, people who are brand new, and we just learn as we go, and you're only investing $199, and you get to keep all the money that you've earned. And if you decide within a year that it's not for you, you send your $199 kit back and they give you your money back. I mean, don't be afraid to say that. There's nothing to lose. There's just not. And I was scared at the beginning too, but my coach told me that I could pay for my daughter's food if I got 5 people to do this with me. And I knew I had 5 fat friends. So I bought my $199 kit. My daughter was my first client. I went to work, told my fat friends I was going to do this because we all got fat together in the staff room. I mean, honestly, and I said that. Listen, we all got fat together, and I'm going to try this one more thing. You want to come and do it? And that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to earn enough to cover my daughter's food. And I tell that story every night. I just got a lead from the company this week and told that story. And she said, I did this about 6 years ago, and I remember that coaching thing, but you have to be on 5 and 1 forever to be a coach, right? That's what she said. And it was like, no, that's not, no. Anyway, great stuff. Okay, I'm going to stop talking again. Is there something we didn't talk about that when you saw this in the group posted, you wanted us to talk about that we didn't? It's not rocket science, guys. We're not going to get together on Saturday mornings and I'm going to wave a magic wand and you're going to have 10 new clients on Monday.
I think this is a great call and a great topic, Gwen, because I think new coaches especially wonder what to say to people when they call. But one thing I wanted to say was sometimes you get caught in a situation where somebody is just ready to sign up and you really don't go through that whole health assessment. And so with these calls, that's a good chance to just maybe each call ask some of those questions and eventually get that side filled up.
Yep.
But I wonder if I mean, I have papers of questions to ask people, and so I don't ask the same thing. It just depends on the person. But I wonder if we should make a file with just questions.
Well, you can do that, but it's going to be different with everybody. I make notes like, you make notes, right? When people talk about what their goals are, and they say, well, my daughter's getting married in October of next year, and you make that note. So when you're doing the health assessment and you make that note, put an asterisk next to it. Don't delve into that subject right then on that call with your health assessment. So there's your asterisk, right? What I want to get down when you're doing their why. I want to get down on the floor with my grandkids. I want to, do this. I'm getting ready to retire. We want to travel. You don't delve in deep into those. You'll be on the phone for 3 hours if you try to get to know everything about your client that first call. So put little asterisks there, and then those are your questions. So we could, but it's going to be different for everybody based on their why and their situation, right, Glenda?
Right. I know just sometimes for me, before I do a call, it's like, okay, so I know all this about them, but sometimes by just looking at something, it's like, okay, I'm going to ask them this because I haven't asked them this or something. I don't know, just like, well, I have like 4 basic questions that I wrote down from a long time ago, and I seldom ask these, but what's on them is, what are you celebrating this week?
Uh-huh.
Or what's one thing you've learned out of the Habits of Health book? So just maybe, I don't know if anybody would like a list, but just
it can't hurt. Yeah, it can't hurt. So do a client check-in questions, Doc, and everybody can add to it in files.
I'd be happy to start it, and then people can just go in and edit and write a good question down there. It doesn't mean that we have to go down the list.
Nope.
Just kind of
but sometimes, yep. And sometimes when you're new, you kind of get frozen on that stuff, right?
Yeah. Like on Fridays, what's coming up this weekend that might be hard for you, or
right. Yeah, I always ask that question every check-in call. Any challenges coming ahead? Any celebrations? Any dinners out? You always want to start that call for the following week. You don't want them to tell you what happened after the fact. You want to be proactive to help them with, oh yeah, our anniversary is Friday. We're going to our favorite place. Okay, what are you going to have? Well, I always have chicken fettuccine and cheesecake for dessert. And we have a favorite wine. And it's like 5,000 calories later. They're telling you about Friday night on Monday. So yes, very good point, Glenda.
I was going to say about that, Glenda, I like that idea. There are prompts that are just helpful to kind of keep in mind. Because we do these calls every week, right? We're talking to, anywhere from 3 to 25 people. So it can get a little, even though we're in the moment and we're kind of personalizing based on feedback we're getting, it is helpful to have some reflective things. And I was going to say, I was just looking for this at convention, they had that station where you could go record your story. And there was a list of questions that came in our welcome packet or whatever that I thought were really good, and I kept those thinking, anyway, I can't find them, but I was looking.
You gonna look for them?
Because they were good, like kind of thoughtful, reflective things about the journey and what's exciting about what they're experiencing and what the win is. So anyway, when I find it, which I will add those to your doc.
Yeah, good. And that's a really good way to think of it. Prompts, right? Reflective prompts. It's like getting them to think about it and prompting them. And that's a really good, that's actually a better verbiage to use than even a question, right? We're just prompting them. We're trying to get them to think about an answer and doing that with prompt. Good stuff. Good stuff, Valerie.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anything we didn't cover that you feel like you need to ask, or anything you want to? It's 7:44. Ugh. Is everybody good? Yeah? Okay. Oh, yay! All right. I didn't hear everybody's voice. We need to hear everybody's voice. So I'll be looking forward to seeing you all and hearing you all. And I hope this recording comes back with Brady Bunch and not just the Talking Gwen head. So have a great Saturday. Have a great rest of your week. I hope this gets you in motion and it gets you thinking and gets you into action. And I'll
plan for the weekend.
Yep. And I'll see you next week. Okay?
Thanks, Gwen.
You're welcome.